Paraiba! This is one of the most requested gemstones that we ever got. So we have finally done it. I waited specifically to interview Benedict, who is a FGA gemologist, because she has one of the nicest selections I've seen. Because they're very rare. So today we're going to go over all of, what makes them so special, the price points, the colors, are there synthetics or imitations that you should look out for? So let's just jump into it.
Yes, sure. So I know I have a gorgeous selection and an amazing collection, but Paraiba is something that I don't have a lot of, just because we don't sell so much in Canada. So I have a great selection. These are all African Paraiba, or Cuprian tourmaline, or copper-bearing tourmaline. I think we're going to talk about that later.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the specifics of the origins and the importance, as you as a client need to know later on in the video. So first, let's start with the color.
Yeah. So typically, since I don't have the greatest collection, I have this gem set that GIA used to make with all the colors to kind of communicate colors. So this is gonna allow us to kind of show the more expensive colors, or the colors that are the most prized, let's say. So Paraiba, it's a fairly new discovery. They discovered it in
1970s?
89.
Oh, 1989.
And I have the Schumann, so it's like a book. It's probably the first book you buy with all the gemstones when you start gemology, because it's kind of like a guide. And mine is from 89, and they don't talk about Paraiba.
Wow, okay.
Or copper tourmaline, because so it's fairly new. It got on the market. I think it was found maybe in 87, but was kind of located in 89, or on the market in 89. But so it's a fairly new gemstones. It was discovered in Paraiba, it's a state in Brazil. And they have found some also in Brazil that are not from there. And then later they found the same type of tourmaline in Nigeria and Mozambique. And the most prized color is kind of like a pure blue.
Okay.
They call it the Windex blue. Literally, that's how they describe it. That's what it looks like. It's very bright blue. To me, it's not my favorite. I don't think I like the more
green,
turquoise and green and more, because when I get asked for tourmaline, they want for these type of tourmaline, they want the neon.
Yeah, this is exactly
aqua.
What I would be thinking of, not the Windex blue.
and yet it's the bluer it is, the more expensive it is. So the more you have green, it's gonna go down in price. And I think saturation also has a big part. I think it's very saturated versus a light blue. Even if this one's bluer, this one's gonna be worth more. But yeah, it ranges from very these are all kind of top color, because I had these ones to show that are more of what I would call regular Paraiba. But yeah, those very vivid blue-green, green-blue, from very green. And they're also found sometimes in purples and pink. They are...
So then what would differentiate a Paraiba, because they're no longer the same color? Why would you call it purple Paraiba? They don't have their own name, their own title?
No, the title would be copper-bearing tourmaline. It's just that they're colored by copper and manganese. Because you can find, and that's what we're going to see later, you can find similar color in tourmalines, and they're not called Paraiba, no matter where they're from. Paraiba, it's the terminology, it needs to have copper, and it needs to have some type of saturation. If you have a stone that is very, very, I have this one, let's say this one had copper in it, and the copper gave it that color, it wouldn't be considered Paraiba, because the color
doesn't have the saturation.
And then the other thing is, does it have to be from Paraiba to call it a Paraiba? But overall, it needs to have copper. So these would have copper that give the color.
Yeah, it's interesting. Sometimes it has so much copper that you can actually find little deposits, I believe, inside the crystal.
Maybe I don't know about that, but maybe yeah. And also what's fun about copper, it's the only like crystal gemstone that's like cut and faceted that is colored by copper. The other ones are malachite, which is more green, and the turquoise that has kind of the same colors. It's like it's really turquoise. It's colored by the same thing. And this one too. So this is dark greenish blue.
Yeah.
So see how these have a bit more green. And so prices too, it's gonna influence. This one, which has more blue, is much more expensive than this one. This one's 6,000. This one is 3,300.
Yeah, and they're looking like they're under a carat. That's like what, 0.7?
0.8.
0.8.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're not even at a carat.
And this is the color that's popular. These ones are all, as I said, from Nigeria. That's from Africa. This one here is from Paraiba.
Yes.
The material from, so there's something about, is it better when we talk about rubies, when we talk about emeralds, there's always this prized location.
Like Colombian emeralds,
exactly.
Burma rubies, yeah.
And they say that, so Paraiba, the thing that's special about them is even the smaller ones, you'll have great saturation. The African material tend to be lighter in color until it reaches a certain size. Then you can get very, very similar color. And it's possible to detect or to determine the origin, but not in every case. Like they have to do like a laser ablation. I have the name here, LAICPMS, which is laser ablation inductively coupled plasma mass spectrometry.
Wow.
And then they compare that to samples, but they don't have, like sometimes you cannot just tell because the samples don't match. So you can find it, but
so it could be like a positive, but it could also be a negative positive. Like even if it doesn't necessarily match, it could still technically be from there just because it doesn't match that deposit. Yeah.
But usually they will say like cannot determine, or they won't tell you it's not from there.
Yeah, but they will tell you it is.
Yeah, we cannot say. So it is possible, but not in all the case. But yeah, they found this way to find the origin because the Brazilian material is worth a lot more than the African.
Indulge me. We're looking at like 2 carats, 3 carats. What is the price points for a good quality?
Well, it depends. Is it from Brazil or?
Let's say Brazil, yeah.
For a 2 to 3 carat from Paraiba, I would say maybe 20, 30K per carat. And from Mozambique, maybe 8,000, something like that.
Okay. So the price is very different when you're looking at different origins.
Yeah. I have just to compare, for 1 carat stones can be from 800 to 5,000 if it's Brazilian. And if you're looking for bigger carat weight, can be 5 times the price. It's a big difference.
So we looked at all of these ones. They're a little bit, from paler to medium saturations, but this is really a perfect specimen of like a very nice saturation. So you can really see the difference between the other stones, how much it pops. But it's true, it's really crazy. It's really electric.
Yeah.
And so if you were to look for this specimen, like this is a 1.4 carat, and you'd probably be looking around close to 15,000, give or take, but this would be harder to find for sure.
Yeah. And this one, that's it. This one's from Brazil. The other ones are not. So it's not only the color, and that's what we said, that why would Brazilian be more expensive? It's also because of the quality, just because they're higher quality. It's a combination of the fact that they're from the original spot, but it's also because they're much higher quality.
Yeah, and so this is more in the green tones, like she said earlier. So if it wasn't the more blue tones as well, it would be exponentially higher. So yeah, this is very beautiful. So now that we touched on like the colors of Paraiba, why don't we look at some comparisons, because there are stones that are similar, like apatite, turquoise.
Yeah. Well, first, even within the tourmalines, because these are all blue tourmalines, and they're not Paraiba, they're not Cuprian, they're not colored by chrome, but you can find a lot of, like, this is colored by chrome, this is not. It's kind of the same intensity. This one's bluer, but there's a lot of tourmalines.
Even almost like a
very
mint emerald, this could be similar to.
Yeah. And then outside of the tourmaline group, I think that, well, if you want to go with like the optimal, so we said this was the optimal color, I would say that a Swiss blue topaz is pretty close as an imitation, but it's not the same. That's it. It's not the same, but it's pretty Windexy.
Yeah, it looks like Windex.
It's if I'm told I want Windex color, I'll think about Swiss blue. It's not the same. Obviously, the Paraiba will have something extra, but I think if we're looking at blue, electric blue, if that's what you like, I think that blue topaz and like these gigantic stones are worth like $350.
Yeah.
So it's a good option if that's the color you like. Blue zircons, they're a pretty good option.
That's the December birthstone. Don't confuse it with CZ, like cubic zirconia. It's not the same thing.
It's not the same. It's not. If we look, this would be a really nice Paraiba. It's kind of the same color palette.
Yeah.
You can have some lighter ones. These are not crazy expensive, but they're not cheap.
Yeah.
For small rounds, it's not going to be a problem, but for bigger stones, I mean, if you want a big blue-green turquoise stone, I think it's the thing. That's a great option. And then apatite.
I love apatite.
We love apatite.
Oh.
We wish apatite was a bit harder.
Yeah, it's a little bit soft. Well, it's easy to crack, right?
It's easy to damage overall.
Yeah. But it has such a crazy cool electric blue.
It's great for,
I was looking at these ones for myself, so I know.
For a pendant, for studs, there's no problem. The setter has to take a deep breath, know what they're doing, but that is not your problem.
Your problem, it's ours.
That is her problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's once it's set and once you know that you have to put it in a Ziploc when you put it in your jewelry box or stuff like that, there's no problem. The real problem is before you get the actual piece and it's at the setting, and obviously not for rings and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, if it's in a bezel, it should be okay. I think if it's in a bezel, it's okay. I'm not worried.
And if you don't wear it.
No, but I think that's harsh.
No. You can wear it, but not like an engagement ring.
Yeah.
Not just like the occasional well-protected ring.
But it's like a 7?
No, it's like a 4.
Apatite is 5.
It's 5. I was closer.
Oh, yeah, I know. Okay.
But yeah, no, it's 5. 4 or 5. It's very soft.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would wear it as a ring.
Yeah.
Maybe once. And then have it into a pendant.
Giving it a bad rap. Oh, it's not that fragile. I don't know what people do with their jewelry. I've never cracked anything.
Have you ever worn an apatite?
No.
On a finger?
I mean, it's a challenge. I could do it.
Okay, we'll do it. We'll each have one, and the last one to
the last
destroy it will win.
Right.
No, but it's a great. I mean, the colors are even. I mean, they're kind of.
Yeah, especially. I mean, this one.
Yeah, the green ones. The blue. Yeah, it's. You know.
It's very similar, but I don't know. There's just something so special to these colors. I find, and everyone's gonna ask you what you're wearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a conversation piece, and every time, like, And that's the thing, it's not so popular here because we're in Montreal, but like in Miami or like you know, you go to like these places by the beach, people love it. Even like in Texas because they like big stones, but this pop of color is just like so unique.
Yep. Especially I would set it in yellow gold. I wouldn't set it in white. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So there are a pretty good selection of imitations that get similar to it. Not exactly quite the same, but you know, we can work with that.
But even that's it, like in tourmalines, like you have a mint tourmaline.
Mint tourmaline, that's what I wear.
I mean, you know, this to me looks like a mint tourmaline, but it's colored by chrome, so it kind of goes in this tray, but you can have really nice, beautiful lagoon or greenish blue or ocean color tourmaline.
Let's go over synthetics. Because if you are buying one, you really want to make sure that it is authentic because of the nature of its scarcity.
Yeah. So imitation, I would say these would be the best imitations.
Do you ever find colored glass? Probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
CZs or possibly like synthetic spinels. They could probably make in that color with some kind of doublet. Imitation, I think that would be it. There's no synthetic Paraiba. There's a type of like synthetic fake, not really synthetic because synthetic would have the same like natural equivalent, but I think it's like a yag or like close to garnet as a synthetic that make these like very neon and crazy colors, but it's not like a Paraiba synthetic.
Yeah, so there are some.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see any.
In terms of treatments,
so a lot of them will be heat treated. Heat treatment is, they can detect it sometimes not, but most of the time, yes. It doesn't, I think it's kind of like sapphires where it may come with a premium if it's not heated, but overall it's very well accepted that these tourmalines are heat treated. They can they can change the purple when they heat treat it. It's gonna change it. It's gonna cut the blue, so it's gonna bring it more to a greenish, and some people, because you know these shades of purple are not gonna. They're more rare. We talked about this together before the video, but they're more rare because they're usually unheated when they're that color. But they're also less expensive. So is it better to like heat a stone that doesn't have the right color or not? I think it just depends, but it's very well accepted that they're heat treated.
I honestly, I think sometimes people get really caught up with it, but unless if you're going for, you know, very high price points, having a heated stone is completely acceptable, and it's going to allow you to get a higher carat weight and the color that you want, right? So
that's it. They're like accepted treatments. I wouldn't want a glass filled ruby. That's another treatment, but I don't mind a heated ruby. This is the same for that. The other treatment they can do is also filling. Usually it's going to be with like a resin.
Okay.
It's closer, I think, to oiling than to like glass filling. So it's kind of to fracture fill. They do that a lot with the African material.
Okay. So
I think it's overall,
for.
but it's gonna be detectable, and if there's no cracks, then it won't get in. But usually tourmalines are known to be slightly included.
Yeah, I mean, you see it right away. You can see it just even like the ones that are slightly more milky, you know that it's going to be more included for the most part.
No.
Yeah.
But it still has a nice glow. Like it's not, except for this cabochon that has like a needle in it. These inclusions are not, they're not like dark crystals. They're not.
Yeah, so as long as the color is still okay, then it's fine. All right, so let's talk about some little tips and tricks, because Paraiba is a term that's commonly used for this color of tourmaline, but is it really applying to everything?
So Paraiba, if you go online on eBay and you search for Paraiba Tourmaline, you'll find some at $20 and $20,000, because in the trade, and that's has caused lawsuits and a lot of drama, and there's still people not agreeing on what can be called Paraiba, what has to be called Cuprian. I know in the States they kind of said every copper bearing tourmaline, that color, can be called Paraiba, like it's a trade name. But you have to be careful that if you want it to come from Brazil, you have to go deeper and make sure your certificate that says it comes from Brazil. If you buy it at a premium that says it comes from Brazil, you have to be careful, because anyone can write Paraiba. I will call them, usually it's not what I call, but if people ask me, I want Paraiba Tourmaline, they want the African material. They don't want necessarily the Brazilian. So there just has, I don't think it's like trying to pass something as something that it isn't. I just need, there needs to be clear communication of what you expect to have.
I think you really just have to put it like in layman terms. I want the origin of the stone to be Paraiba, Brazil.
That's it.
You know?
But that's gonna come with a price tag too.
Yeah,
if you want,
if
that
that's
color.
what you want. Yeah.
And because the other thing is, I would gladly call it a Cuprian tourmaline if people knew what it was.
Yeah.
People don't know it. Those are words like that. It's like zircon. We talk about zircon. People don't know what they are, so they think we talk about something else. If I start talking about Cuprian tourmaline to my friends who don't know things about gemstone but might know about Paraiba, or like the main ones, but they're just gonna look at me like, what are you talking about? Like prazolite, in the trade it's gonna be called green amethyst, because that's what people know. So I think that is an important factor, that they're always gonna call them Paraiba because that's the look they have. And if they call it any other thing, people are just gonna walk straight past them and not give it a look. So but I think that's it. If that's what you want and you have the budget for it, and you have to be clear that you want it from Paraiba, you want a certificate.
I mean, I would always get a certificate for a stone like this. It's not even a question. So yeah. All right, guys. If you guys have any other questions, do leave them down below. We'll try to get back to you. If ever you're looking for a Paraiba, how do you even say it? Paraiba?
I don't speak like Portuguese, but I guess they would know how to say it correctly.
Yeah, because I feel like I'm saying it wrong. But
I don't know. I can say it in French or in English.
Paraiba.
Or
okay.
I don't know. Would tell us in the comments.
Tell us in the comments.
Voice notes.
Yeah. If you guys do have questions, if you guys are looking for one, you can always send me an email. My links are down below. Thank you so much, Benedict, for showing us your collection, and we'll see you next time. Bye.